Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that's going to remind me that there are many spoilers in this episode. It's Mo Lightning.
Wow, that was like the movie guy intro right there.
Yeah, I gotta try to be that movie guy, and then I just go back to my voice. But
In a world full of deep blue sea.
Oh, one man will collect them all.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show. Thanks for letting me check out Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania early. It was a good time.
Yeah, and listen, normally I don't do like immediate reaction episodes about movies because I like to research them, I like to listen to the commentaries, I like to see the box office. But
Right,
I enjoyed this
stuff.
movie, and I like talking to you. So I figured, let's talk about this movie. And be warned, spoilers. They're one of my favorite podcasts, the Last Action Heroes podcast. They listened to our troll episode, right? I think I immediately spoiled the movie without saying spoilers. So I just want everyone to know this episode, it's going to go deep into the lore of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Quantumania. It makes you think of a Phoenix song, Listomania.
I love that you took a deep breath before you said it. You're like, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Come on now. But still, we had a good time last night, Mo. Like we enjoyed this movie, and it's currently at 61% on Rotten Tomatoes, which seems right. Right?
I was gonna say it's a Marvel movie. We'll all agree it's a Marvel movie, but it's a Marvel movie that's still gonna divide people.
Yeah.
And that's because there's a lot of CGI fights. There's not a lot of characterization from people you would expect characterization from, but it's still a fun movie.
It's a romp. It's a yarn. Those
are good.
It's just words there. It's just a trip into it's a bunch of tiny people getting even smaller to go into a realm full of creatures without holes, and you have to drink ooze, and there's just some really interesting characters, like William Jackson Harper plays Quaz, like really interesting characters, and it's I checked my watch, Mo. It's under 2 hours before the credits, so the credits are what take it over 2 hours. So
right, and they are long credits too. Because there's the Thailand department, and here's the Los Angeles department, and here's the Atlanta department, and oh my God, this movie was shot everywhere.
I don't know how good it was, but our names were in the credits. People sitting in the theater in Atlanta. It was Mo Lightning, Mark Hoffmeyer, everyone else. I'm like, you guys are good. This is Spaceballs level good.
Wow. Working with a bunch of assholes.
We were surrounded by them last night.
We were. So Quantumania is a fun movie, and I will say, no matter how divisive this movie may be, we will all agree it's better than Thor: Love and Ragnarok.
Yes. Yeah. And listen, you know what? We were talking about this. I went to rewatch Thor: Love and Thunder, and whoo-wee, it stopped dead in its tracks, man. It just, the humor stops everything. And those goats, get rid of the goats. Focus on the god. You have Christian Bale in your movie. He's not even in your movie. He's in a movie by Darren Aronofsky. Darren Aronofsky loves covering religion in movies.
Just like ad-libbing stuff and just giving whatever accent he wants. That movie was trying to do too much. Quantumania, dare I say, was not doing enough.
It does. And listen, they get there fast, and they leave there fast. I was like, it's that easy? I remember, like, wait, is that easy to leave the quantum realm? And it's
Mark was really hopeful for a lot more Baskin-Robbins action, which admittedly was still more than you expected, but
yeah, listen, I kid because I just wanted Baskin-Robbins, and listen, the world has to expand. The world has to grow. You need new characters as the older characters are kind of aging out. You need to introduce Kang. You need to make smaller characters smaller. But all I wanted was the ex-con crew to be chatting about truth serum at Walton Goggins restaurant for 120 minutes. Then you get Ghost coming in, just everybody. Bring in like Judy Greer pops up. Just everybody.
She was mentioned enough in this movie, but you don't see her.
Jimmy Woo pops in, does some close-up magic, and then my favorite moments of this movie were when people were buying his coffee.
Right. When he's walking down the street, the inner monologue that he's sharing with us. I think Ant-Man's better when he is around other individuals, like in a more humane sort of way. He's around a lot of CGI characters in this one, and I don't know, as great as the technology has gotten, you can only act so well next to non-existent CGI characters.
Yeah, exactly. And also it kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit because at the end when we have Paul Rudd boxing Jonathan Majors, Creed 3's Jonathan Majors, and he's getting whooped, but he's landing some punches. You're like, no.
Mm-mm.
I think it was more believable when Wasp comes in and puts up a fight. You're like, oh yeah, I get it. Evangeline Lilly can fight. Like I feel like she would gouge my eye out in a street brawl. Like Paul Rudd, I think he would just hug you.
He would cry and maybe try to cheap shot you with a low blow once you turn around, maybe at best,
and fail at it, and then just be like, no. But I gotta say though, it's a day later, and the more I think about it, I was talking to my wife Megan, like I'm gonna buy this movie. I'll put it on in the background. If I'm making cookies, if I'm cooking dinner, I'll put it on. I'll enjoy some quantum shenanigans. You know what my biggest complaint is?
No sharks.
Yeah, but my biggest complaint was the beginning of the movie, where they get into the quantum realm, because Janet Van Dyne had been in the quantum realm for 7,000 years,
right?
AKA 30. Okay. So she's been in there for 30 years. She pops back out and she's like, "It was terrible in there, y'all." So what happens? Dr. Hank Pym, Hope Van Dyne, and Cassie Lang, they're like, "Hey, let's build a machine that we can send transmissions down to the quantum realm."
Yeah, we're gonna go open up a quantum realm taxi service.
Yeah, an Uber. And you know what? We're gonna not tell Janet. We're just, Janet won't even talk about her time in there. She wasn't like, "Listen, I had a jacuzzi, I had a pet, I was hanging out with Bill Murray, we were hooking up." She's like, "It was awesome in there. I joined a rollerblading team."
Creature, it had broccoli for a head.
Yeah.
No, nothing at all. So the family thinks this has got to be a good idea. Let's send a Google Maps truck to the quantum realm to start scanning everything.
Listen, if you're an inventor out there and one of your family members or friends gets sucked into the quantum realm, and when they come back and refuse to speak about it, don't build like you said, a Google vehicle that can, map everything in there. Don't do that. Don't get that Prometheus thing that can go in and map it all. Don't do that. Because if they loved it in there, if they were the head of their cheerleading squad, or if they started a Starbucks franchise and told you all about it, cool. But if you're like, "I'm not talking about it. We're not doing that."
Yeah, so that was obviously very weird, just the family dynamic there, because they're supposed to be so close together. The other thing would be, did they not turn it on before this live demonstration? Because it worked, but that's when they discovered the signal. That's when MODOK was able to track that signal. So what happened? Like, did they not test it ahead of time? Or maybe that's when MODOK started paying attention. Like, how long has this been operational? Because there was no flaws.
Because she's been trying it for a while. They tested it a little bit.
You'd hope so.
Yeah,
but...
they did a few test drives around around the quantum realm with their vehicle.
But then that gets towards the end of the story, and maybe this comes back around in a Marvel universe somewhere, but they turned it off. They unplugged that shit. They're like, "No, we're done and over it." Janet Van Dyne wanted to make sure nobody was getting anywhere. Then it reopened up because MODOK was able to trace them. Fast forward to the end of the movie when they've rebuilt or replugged in whatever that device. Who's to stop somebody else from the quantum realm from coming back again?
Yeah, because they can trace that.
Right. I mean, maybe only MODOK could, but I don't know.
Yeah, and he did become an Avenger, MODOK.
Right. In his death, his very noble death. Which, by the way, let's talk about MODOK.
The puke was great.
Magnifique.
The puke was lovely, and the little butt shot of him. He looked like Ren. Is it Ren or Stimpy?
Oh, that was that. Oh, yeah.
Which one was the dog?
A little bit of Ren there, I think. Yeah. I will say I've been a big MODOK fan most of my life, and not because I respect him as a character, but because he's such a weasel sort of character. I love Patton Oswalt's take on him in the Hulu series, but they nailed him. They nailed this character who is brilliant, but somehow just deficient enough everywhere else in life that they perfectly got him. And I like that they had Darren, the former Yellow Jacket. I like that they brought him back.
Yeah, and listen, having Corey Stoll, a lot of people talk about Yellow Jacket being one of the more boring villains in the MCU. He did his job. He had a train fight in a child's room. That's amazing. But having him come back and just have fun.
Yeah.
And just be a jerk. And
just a little bit off. You can tell the brain, he was put back together, so to speak, but not all the pieces were connecting.
Like, you don't have to be a dick. Wait, I'm a dick? I guess I am a dick. It's never too late to stop being a dick. So he's fun. Like, that's the reason why I want to revisit this movie. And when I look back at the first couple Ant-Man movies, my favorite scenes are with Luis and the X-Con crew, but there's a scene with T.I. and Michael Pena where they're in a van, they're like, back it up. Oh, we're doing
back it up.
Back
it up. What are you doing? Back it up.
Back it up.
Backing it up.
Like, that's not a necessary scene, but they let it breathe and they let it have so much fun. And then you have, all the stories he tells, and then the flashback scenes too, where, I'm sorry, not the flashback scenes. Yeah, like he does the talk about how I met this person and she knew him and then she knew him and then she knew that. And then I also love the truth serum bit in Ant-Man. Like, it's just, and then the whole Baba Yaga subplot. It's like they let it breathe. Like, those are my favorite. I feel like Ant-Man's maybe the one franchise, maybe with the Guardians, where they just let it breathe. They just sort of let people have fun and talk about totally inconsequential things.
And I know we were transitioning and talking from MODOK, and they let MODOK breathe and have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But the movie, and I've been trying to figure out, like, what one of the things that bothered me most about this movie is the fact that there is so much happening in this 2 hours that not a lot breathes.
So they pop in a quantum realm, they get separated, they meet an army, they drink ooze, and then, let's see, then there's another thing, you go to Bill Murray, and then they escape, and then they find another army, but that army gets destroyed, and then she gets kidnapped, they both get kidnapped, and then Kang monologues, and then they do some stuff, and then ants show up, and then there's a giant battle, and then some blue helmeted orb guys get wiped out.
I didn't mind that design, though.
Yeah, that's cool.
I do like, if they're going to be these faceless, nameless ghouls, then okay, I like how they look. Yeah,
they're better than I don't like the shadow demons in Thor Love and Thunder. I don't like whatever those animals were in Infinity War that just chewed through the thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. They're called like What's-in-Burgers or something. I don't know. And then
I think that's exactly what they're called. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say something real quick. The Frost Giants, they get a bum deal in Thor.
They really kind of do, yeah.
You and I are Frost Giants. We're the head of it. We're just hanging out in Frost World. And Loki shows up. He's like, "Hey, man, I'll set you up.
I'm one of you.
Yeah, I'll set you up. You can kill Rene Russo and Odin." Really? All right. We show up, and then it fails because it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And then we sneak in, try to grab something, and then they catch us. And then they show up to our planet, and Thor just wipes out a quarter of it. And then they're like, "Oh, hey, go kill." And then we get jump back to, "Oh, you go kill her again." Then you get killed. Like, they would have done nothing in this movie. Just chill on their cold planet, sit in hibernation. Loki shows up and just kills them all.
But they were living a good life until Loki effed things up. In which, if we needed to find a Loki in this movie, it's Cassie. It's Cassie Lang. It's her fault. I know everybody, even you're like, no, it's not her fault. It's her fault.
Yes.
She screwed up. She done screwed up.
Hey, Cassie. Cassie's like, "It was my fault." And everyone's like, no. Like, I get in those situations, don't be like, "Yeah, it is your fault." But you could just be like, "Listen, it's cool. You're 18.
Now's not the time."
Like, you're 18. I wasn't around for 5 years. I'm still treating you like a kid. I probably wasn't around as much. You're trying to, like, live up to things. Your dad's an Avenger. You got your grandpa who's not telling your grandma anything. She's been on a planet for 30 years. Like, I get it. It's cool. But yeah, you messed up big. Don't do it again. Just please listen to me. Yeah. But then
we'll talk about this when we return to Earth. But for now, let's not die.
I like Catherine Newton, though. I like her in Freaky.
Yeah.
I read an interview with her in this.
I will say everybody did a great job. Do not get me wrong. Michelle Pfeiffer was outstanding. We have yet to really touch on Kang, but Jonathan Majors was outstanding. Like, everybody did a good job. It's just, to me, this was just a big setup movie. Obviously, Kang's the next Thanos, and you gotta get him introduced somewhere. It's a little odd. I've had a lot of people ask me in the short time since we've seen it, is there a lot of cameos? Obviously, no. There's not really much in the way of cameos. There's not a lot of crossover in this. This is more of a Kang story to me than anybody else. Yeah. Maybe Michelle Pfeiffer, but an Ant-Man story, he may be the title hero, but it's not his story. It's not his.
This goes the way of every single Marvel franchise too, where except for Iron Man, where Thor, it's a lot of Thor. Then Thor 2, it's all the people, and Loki's more involved. Then Thor 3, it's like, give me Tessa Thompson, give me Hulk, give me Kate Blanchett. We're like, Thor's in it a little. He's in it, but he's not in it. Cap in the first one, it's all Cap. Then he's with ScarJo and Anthony Mackie, and Civil War's everybody.
Right.
So it's like This one's the same thing. And you know what I love most about the Ant-Man 1 and 2 is that it was about family, but more like adopted family. Because he didn't know Hank yet. He didn't know Janet yet. He didn't know Hope. He just had his ex-con crew. It was like
He was trying to be a good father, but he knows he was a screw up. There was good parental issues there, yes.
You have his friends acting as family. You have his family. This one's just his family in here. There's not like his adopted family, the ex-con crew. You couldn't have put him in here. They would have dragged this movie into the abyss and wouldn't be necessary, but I'd still watch
Although
it.
the ex-con crew in the quantum realm would have been something else. Luis's reactions
With the
to
van.
everything.
With the van. Oh, him and Gentora knocking people out.
Yeah. Or even him just afterwards. Even if we didn't see him, like he got lost, and then we're just catching up with him afterwards. His stories. So I met this reptile, man, and let me tell you about the snake. And it's, I don't know.
They show up at the end. And,
That would have been great.
What'd you guys do here? Oh, you guys got to hear about us. Because the quantum realm's huge.
We were just having French toast, and we got sucked into this crazy new world. And
oh, they recaps it. I want that. And
this is a sidetrack here, but Kevin Feige once went on the record to say that there is footage of the Luis character recapping the entire first phase of movies through Endgame. That footage exists, but it's never been released. Why not?
Just put it in theaters.
I would pay for it.
Just have him recap all 4 phases in every TV show in the theater. That's it.
Great. We're great. Give him a half an hour. Disney
Plus show.
Boom. There's a special.
I'll subscribe for a year to watch that. I don't care. Give me that. And
that would be so good. It definitely missed that back and forth for sure. And that was disappointing. But as a fan of villains in general, I already expressed my love for MODOK. Kang was outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it's just his presence, right? And
yeah.
I want to say it right here. I've said it a billion times, but I watched The Last Black Man in San Francisco. And I saw Jonathan Majors in that before he had done Lovecraft Country, before he had done The Harder They Fall. And I'm like, this dude's got it. People are going to be sick of me saying this, but I was like, this dude's got it. And now he's gotten it. It's already been gotten.
Now.
Yeah, and watching his presence, the one thing I missed is that, and I'm sure we'll learn it, but, with Killmonger, you kind of understood his point, right? I'm not going to be the weirdo that says he's the hero of the story. He's not. Even everyone's like, no, he's not the hero of the story. Like, some people are like, he's the hero. No, he's not. You can understand where he's coming from. That doesn't make him the hero. Thanos. Like, you get him, right? Like, you're like, yeah, I get Thanos. The biggest problem that I hope with Kang's is that, what's his deal? Like, he just wants to destroy. And that's cool and all, but all my other Kangers were kind of destroying the timeline, so I wanted to destroy them. So where is the sort of, I think a good villain, maybe with a Loki too, you need that sort of emotional connection. Baron Zemo in Captain America Civil War, like with it listening to those voicemails. So I think, how are we going to get that with Kang?
And that's a good question, but since that's
the first time someone's ever asked me that on this. This is over 500 episodes, and I think that's the first time someone went, that's a good question, Mark.
Mark this down. What is the date today? I do think it is a legit question, but we don't know what the end form of Kang is going to look like moving forward. Because we know we had He Who Remains from the end of the Loki series on Disney Plus, and he was the sane civil one. He was the one that said, I'm keeping everybody safe. You do whatever you want. You want to kill me, fine. But you kill me, you're opening up a whole bad thing here. And so they kill him. We obviously have seen the multiverse and the branches already starting to leak out in movies and shows. But now this guy was supposedly the most dangerous one. And now they claim that he's dead, that he got absorbed in. So you see in the post-credit scene, this council, all of the Kangs being brought together. And I don't know. If the worst one's already dead, then maybe we don't get the worst one, but now we get the most psychotic one. And maybe finally we get the backstory of what inspires Kang to be so devious. But maybe it's simple as he's just not a good person.
Why are you doing this? Because you're home. Wait, that's strangers. Or them. I mean, that's a good line.
But that's also not necessarily incorrect, though. We know that there are just people out in this world of ours, the real life, that just aren't good people. People that just have a screw loose. And We also know how tempting power can be. You know, a lot of people want power and control, and that, as simple as that endgame might be, you know, if you have all the knowledge in the universe, why not use it to your advantage?
No, that's a great point too. And listen, maybe that'd be a nice deviation because every villain I think in the MCU so far has had to be somewhat sympathetic. So if Kang just comes in and starts busting heads and busting eyes and biting noses and poking eyes and pulling ears.
Giving noogies and wedgies and yeah, we can't have that. Where most of the Marvel villains, at least on screen, have been mirror images of people: Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man, Ironmonger and Iron Man, Killmonger and Black Panther. Like, you get a lot of same versions, mirror images. Maybe Kang is the opposite version of someone. Maybe he is the ultimate evil, where a Captain Marvel or whoever has to save the day in a couple movies, maybe they're the give all and he's the give none. He's the Joker going to the museum throwing paint all over the works of art, you know, just because he can.
Let's just recreate that scene. And they should just put Michael
Only if
Keaton
there's Bat Dance with it.
As Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman in the MCU now too. Just put him in, so then everyone freaks out about it.
Give it 20 years, we will have DC and Marvel characters interacting on the big screen.
You're a very smart person, Mo, so I'm going to ask you a question.
I think out of the 500 episodes that you've hosted, that's the first time you've ever said that.
To all my guests? That's why I bring smart people on, to make me smarter. Oh, it's a Mo. To Mo. Yeah, that's true. The first time I ever said that to you, I'm like, don't ask Mo. Now, Batman. Keaton, Adam Clement told me that his nickname was, if you mess with Keaton, you get a beating. He murders people in Batman, and he murders people in Batman Returns. He blows up 30-some henchmen. He kicks a henchman down a well with dynamite.
Right.
In the first one, he drops those bombs and kills countless henchmen and a facility. So when
Henchmen
Affleck,
just trying to pay the bills, by the way.
When Affleck, yeah, they get a leather jacket and a beret, and then they get murdered.
I mean, Bob the Goon probably worked hard to get the name the Goon, you know?
To get a name.
You don't start as the Goon. You're like Bob the intern at first. You're Bob the new guy.
He gets
and Batman just ruined it, you know, just ruined all of that upward momentum.
You know, my guys were like working for dental insurance, because once you get a name, you get dental.
Right.
So why were people so mad about Batfleck beating the tar out of people in Batman v Superman? They're like, Batman doesn't kill people. I'm like, he killed people in the first comic books, and he killed people in the Burton Batman movies. Why were
I had to guess, I think some of it was an underlying anger towards Superman snapping Zod's neck. That I think they were just worried that every character was going to be this bloodthirsty hero at that point. I think they came around on Batfleck eventually, myself included. I was never mad about the violence. I just don't care for Ben Affleck as an actor. But maybe because we just saw Superman do that, maybe we were worried that Batman was going to be, you know, he's going to maim someone or like tear out their insides. I don't know. Okay.
Going back to Ant-Man, I just wanted that answer because it always bothers me. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cool is Jentora? Because she's a beast. Jentora's a beast, played by Katie O'Brien. Katie M. O'Brien. She's a beast.
Get that M in there.
Yeah.
Get that M.
I liked her a lot in this. Good. This is like, I'm not gonna say good look, but she was just jacked and good actor. Had the command.
You had no doubt that she could fight. She was a warrior. You know, a little bit of characterization from her, not a great deal, but for a secondary, thirdary character, it was impressive how much you actually grew to actually like the character.
Yeah. And when you watched the Blobo guy, Kirby, and then when you watched Quaz together, you like them. That's pretty rare. I think that's maybe Ant-Man's strongest. I think that's one of their stronger, what's the word, aspects of the franchise, is that I love Judy Greer in this franchise, but she does nothing. The kid was good.
Even her new husband, Judy Greer's new husband, like you find a way to connect with the characters very quickly in the Ant-Man franchise, and I think maybe that's why it was so disappointing there were so many CGI characters in this movie, because they don't have the same natural charisma that a lot of these characters do. But with that said, this is also one of the most comic booky movies ever in comic book history.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, big, like, are you talking maybe like a Kirby type Like Jack Kirby style animation,
Jack
or like
Kirby
just,
animation, the wild ideas, the crazy alien characters, but you still got the superhero. It is a very, like, when I started collecting comic books back in the 80s, like, this is the kind of story I'd expect. It wasn't all, Batman solving a mystery, which they did have those too, but I liked the over-the-top carnival nature of comic books, and this movie did it.
I like the X-Men run in the 90s with Bishop, and it was more violent, but I like the time travel involved. That was a cool run right there. It's not a Quantum Realm,
that
but
was
I
a
love
great
that.
run. That was the X-Men are my favorite, so good call.
I got X-Men 280 through 290. I have that run with like Bishop and Storm.
I think I was 281 through like 330 something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. That's
All
a
right.
good run right there.
But I've never collected any Ant-Man comics, I'll tell you that.
No.
I do have that Avengers comic where Hawkeye is shooting Ant-Man on the edge of the arrow. I have that one, but that was the closest I ever got to an Ant-Man comic.
I mean, listen, there's only so much you can do with Ant-Man. And I think the Paul Rudd casting was perfect because you just like him. So he is really the everyday man of the MCU. And Peyton Reed even said this, where Cap is Cap, Tony's a billionaire. You have, Banner, who's a scientist, and then you have the ex-con, Baskin-Robbins fired employee, becoming the superhero. And I think that allows you to connect with him because one thing, it just allows him to be a fanboy, and then another, it just allows to have some humor and have like a non-serious, like, Cap's been through it, and Ant-Man
but at the same time, it's hard to find Captain America, Iron Man, Thor against somebody you feel they don't have a chance against. Whereas Ant-Man, and even in this movie, Kang's like, you talk to ants. Everybody constantly belittles him. Like, even the neighborhood thinks he's Spider-Man. That's a part of the joke. So when he does have a battle in front of him, he is automatically the underdog already, and I do like that.
Yeah, exactly. And even when he gets huge, he still is just huge. He's not. He's powerful, but he's not. You know,
he's still
a
goofball. Even when he is 40 stories tall, he's still a goofball that still could trip over something.
When he goes Kaiju Ant-Man, he's still Paul Rudd.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I learned is that Peyton Reed, the director, was developing a Fantastic Four movie in the early 2000s. And that actually became the 2005 movie, directed by, Tim Story, and the much more vibrantly colored film that really, like, this goes heavy on Jessica Alba. I had to rewatch that. I had to watch every Chris Evans movie recently. I'm like, I feel bad. She's a billionaire now with Honest Brand, but I was like, poor Jessica.
Right.
It's like,
she was at the height of her popularity back then, that's for sure.
Not handled well in that movie, but it's he wanted to go to the quantum realm, and he wanted to be in the 60s, and so he has a very strong attachment to Fantastic Four, and I think there's a little bit of that in this movie with the family dynamic, with the kind of arguing, the bickering, I don't know. Did you feel that at all? Like, I feel like this was very Fantastic Four-y.
I absolutely got that vibe. Yeah, that this is what a Fantastic Four movie could be. Will we get one like this? I guess time will tell. But you're right, like the family dynamic, the back and forth, it's very over the top, very fantastical. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. I think that's all great there.
Even though we talked about this movie, we talked about Kang, we talked about how it ends quickly, begins quickly, it's still a good time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a romp.
It's just one of those that you can, as I said during the credits, you can play on your phone during this movie, yes, and you're not going to miss much.
If it's on an airplane, you love it.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people ask me already in the short time since we've seen it if they're going to be confused watching this movie, because Quantumania, they talk about the travel, getting in and out of there. Like, it seems like it would be intimidating, but if you've seen it like we have, they do a good job of explaining things.
Yeah, absolutely. So watch Loki in the two Ant-Man movies, pretty much, and you'll sort of understand Kang, and you'll understand who he is. But they do explain. I mean, the timelines are fine. They were messing up the timeline, so I wanted to do it. Then I got stuck here. Like, it's enough. If you just walk into it blind,
right,
you'll pull it together. I mean, first and foremost, it's just a yarn. It's an inner space, but in the Quantumania, you just get sucked into a thing. Shenanigans happen. They come out. No major character deaths.
Which I had a couple questions for you, and that was one of them. Are you surprised there were no major character deaths.
The only ones you could kill are the most obvious. You can't kill Paul Rudd. Like, if Paul Rudd got his face punched off by Kang in this movie, and his skin separates from the bone on his face, and you can see his eyeballs without the skin just obliterated, it would scar people for ages. Mm-hmm. That leaves Hope, that leaves Cassie, Janet, that leaves Hank Pym, but that's the easy kill.
Or any other new character introduced.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Flash from Avengers, like Ultron. Like, that leaves them to get killed. And
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. Oops.
That's all right. I called it Thor: Love and Ragnarok earlier. It's all right. It's all right.
That dude, though, I like him. The guy. He's in.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, like he's in a movie called The Outlaw King, and he's legit in that Bullet Train. I hope he's Bond. They're saying he might be Bond.
I hope so too, actually. And I've never once watched TV or a movie and be like, man, that outfit is sharp. I need to do that. Until I saw his character in Bullet Train. I needed to get a new suit for a wedding, so I'm like, I got to get this blue pinstripe. I got to get it. And that movie inspired me to buy fancy clothes.
I think listen, he pulled off the dialogue in that too. Like, he proved he's Bondy with the quips and with Brian Tyree Henry and all that. But but killing somebody in this would just be the easy kill. So don't do the easy kill. That's boring to me. Like, that's so Marvel. It's like, who are we gonna kill? I don't know. What's the easy one? Like, you know what? Let's kill off Scarlett Johansson, the Oscar-nominated actor who we've squandered since Iron Man. And yeah, let's just kill her. And then let's put a prequel out that has nothing really to do except for introduce her family.
Right.
I mean, just don't do it. Don't do it. I mean,
I thought at most what they would do here with Ant-Man is maybe he gets stuck in the quantum realm on the way out. Like, not everybody makes it back, which it really seemed like that was going to be the case. And then Cassie's device works again. Or he gets like Kang. He gets sucked into something and everybody assumes he's dead, but he's not.
Hey guys, I'm still in here.
Exactly.
Like, shut up.
But everybody else starts moving forward, and we miss Scott so much. So I know I'm surprised that we didn't get a death. Like you said, Ant-Man would have been the biggest one. I really wondered if Wasp was going to be killed off. Evangeline Lilly, her personal views seem to conflict with Marvel's a lot, so don't know how much time is left on that clock. But killing off Janet or Hank, I don't know. Like you said, it would have been the easy one there.
Yeah, don't do it. Like, just and listen, I thought they were going to be stuck in the quantum realm, but then they're like, oh, hey, beep-boop, and they're back in with their daughter. I'm like, what? Like, I thought
so are they just going to keep pulling people out then? Like, if they can travel, then
let's go get this one. Let's go get that one. Like, it's just, I don't know. But it's Ant-Man.
The quantum realm has gotten easier over these movies. Like, I remember at least there was a callback when Cassie went large. When Cassie went large and then she went back down again, she fainted because of the pressure and whatnot. That was a good follow-up, but like, you were supposed to go to the quantum realm and lose yourself. That was the thing, is if you go down so small that you just forget. But yet Michelle Pfeiffer knows how to fight all of these badass people down there. She knows how to do all the in-air control panels, all of the beep, boop, boop, boop. Like, she didn't seem to forget a damn thing. And nobody else seemed to lose their minds on the way down. Like, what happened to the quantum realm? This is not my quantum realm.
It was really hard. Remember in the Ant-Man and the Wasp how tough it was to get in there? Like, this is really hard. And then they're just, boop, hey, what's up, y'all? I'm in the quantum realm.
Yeah, now this 18-year-old girl figured it out, which I'm not saying a girl can't figure it out. It's just like, I know, she's got a brainy family. It probably runs in the family. It's all a little too convenient in this movie.
Yeah, but it's Ant-Man, right? So
But it's Ant-Man.
I think you can't just not criticize a movie like you just did. You are absolutely right. But I think sometimes, like, the context of Ant-Man, people are like, all of a sudden just, I think you just got to look at this movie in context of what it is. It's just an Ant-Man movie. So as an Ant-Man movie, it's not better than 1 and 2, but I have no ill will. I feel like some people have ill will towards it. They're like, it looks like mud. It's stupid. Yeah. You'll want to go home. It's like, it doesn't look like mud.
I have issues with this movie, but it's nothing I'm going to lose any sleep over. It's nothing I'm going to get worked up over. It's not a perfect movie, but it's it's enjoyable, and to me that's all that matters.
If this was 2002, like TBS or TNT would be rubbing their hands together, like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna play every day on our channel. Like it's that kind of movie. So that's the kind of review I'm gonna write it. Like
back to the Dark Knight again. All right.
If I had to give it a grade, I would just give it a B minus. Because I don't think I've ever given a Marvel movie an A. Never.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Maybe Iron Man.
You are a dick.
But
good thing is you learned it's never too late to not be a dick.
But okay. Like
I really liked Winter Soldier. I thought Winter Soldier was an A, maybe an A minus for me.
Can I tell you something?
It's your show, so yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait, this isn't the Mo Hour?
It could be if you wanted to.
You just take over.
I mean, first time.
So many people talk about Winter Soldier, and they're like, "Oh, it's like a 1970s political thriller," and I kind of would be like, "How many 1970s political thrillers have you watched?" So I'm just glad you didn't say that, because then I don't want to be a jerk about it because you like what you like, but they heard the director say that and they're like, "Yeah, it's a 1970s political thriller." I'm like, name 3. And then, well, I don't know. The director said it was. I'm like, what? It's still a good movie. I like the lo-fi aspect of it, and I think the final battle of Winter Soldier is great because it's human. You know, Falcon he takes one bullet, he's done. If he gets shot in the artery, carotid artery, like he gets shot in the leg and hits an artery, he's done.
Regardless of the tone of the movie, I liked the action in it. I liked the characterization. I did like Captain America's growth, Bucky's growth. I mean, like there was a lot to that it was a superhero movie, but didn't scream superhero movie. And this Ant-Man screamed superhero movie. Like this movie is not going to be the one that changes Martin Scorsese's or Seth Rogen's minds.
Yeah. And you know what I hate, Mo, is you and I work comic conventions for many years, and I think you and I sort of know comic book fans, and we know fandom in general. Mm-hmm. We have spent a lot of time around fandom, and we've watched each individual fandom and seen how they act. Like when you do a panel, you can tell the difference between a Doctor Who, between a Marvel. When you do an autograph signing, you can tell the difference between a Walking Dead fan.
Yes.
You can tell the fandom. And my problem with Marvel right now is Scorsese has every right to say, listen, sure, $200 million movies are not going to take wildly artistic chances like a Terrifier 2 or an Aftersun. That's an absolute fact. But fans get so mad about it. But what these fans got to realize is Marvel's won. Like Marvel has won. They are it. It is in the mainstream. They make a bill. They make 2 bill. They make 2.5 bill. Like they are giant movies. And you don't have to defend it like you're the 1990s one kid in class who's in the back of the class getting made fun of for playing wizard and reading comic books. Like you are the mainstream. So hearing like Seth Rogen say I'm not a fan, like that's fine. Like but people still act like it's that thing from the 90s, but it's one. It doesn't need them. Like it's not. But I don't like people saying these movies are art. That's my big, and you know that's not the movie's fault. And I can't hate the movies for it. But come on, y'all, like put it in some perspective with these films.
Yeah, it may not be a masterpiece of artwork. It may not be.
It shouldn't be.
At the world's most established museum. It's not the Louvre, it's not, somewhere like that, but it doesn't mean it's not art. And obviously we love it. We've always loved these movies, going to see them. You worked on a lot of the sets. So we enjoy, but I don't know if a piece of cinema, if a movie not being good is the worst complaint you have in your day, you got a privilege.
Yes. If you were so mad that Martin Scorsese, if that's what makes you mad, then you're living a good life.
Yeah. And like Scorsese's done enough that he can justify this. Seth Rogen, I think he's trolling people. He's said a couple things lately that I think is just a string of events to help him promote something coming up.
Yeah, get my
probably
name
the
back
new season of The Boys even. Like,
yeah,
I think Seth's just playing people because he knows how to. But Scorsese, he has gotten to that point. If there's anybody that's able to talk about cinema and should lead the conversation, he's near the top of that list.
If I ever have to diss Marvel in public, I'll just be like, before I do though, I'll say, listen, this is one of the greatest produced, written, managed franchises in the history of cinema. The way that they built it from Jon Favreau and a recently rehabbed Robert Downey Jr. Well, probably since like 2002, but like dead on his career, they took a chance.
Oh yeah, it was a gamble.
And like they died.
And
Chris
Iron
Hemsworth
Man was not an A-lister.
No, and Hulk
People
that
forget
didn't
that.
do well, and they built and they managed and they
Mhm.
really made these movies into events. So if you're looking into production, if you're looking into Kevin Feige, if you're looking into the studio system, these movies need to be appreciated and applauded for big budget filmmaking that is tied. Many have tried and failed to do this. So I have absolute and the utmost respect for
Yes.
the team behind these movies. I just, sure, you know what? You can call these art. Absolutely. A lot of people are doing brilliant art, and I got to see some amazing sets. But all I'm saying is when you're making a $200 million movie, you can't take wild artistic chances that are why I love certain movies. Like it can't be a Kubrick movie. Obviously, it can't. So
the Fast and Furious franchise may exaggerate more and more per movie, but there is still the underlying theme in every single one of them because that's what people want.
and listen, that's my favorite movie franchise of all time.
Okay.
Non-ironically, I said favorite, so don't lose your mind. It's not the best. Well,
I'm still taking a moment, still computing.
It's beautiful, man.
And let's talk about the literal artwork. Let's talk about the animation and the CGI in this movie. For as much as there is, I give them a lot of credit. Compared to some of the other recent Marvel projects, this CGI was crisp.
Yeah, very crisp. And I will say the recent Wakanda Forever, there were some kind of non-crisp moments. I think in Thor: Love and Thunder too. You're watching some of it and you're like, ee.
She-Hulk.
Yeah,
there
She-Hulk.
was some debatable ones in there. So when I saw that they're promoting this as a living green screen movie, that there's so much CGI, I was worried. But even like the broccoli people were pretty cool, and they nailed it. I don't know if they put all the good talent on this project and they put the reserves on the other ones, but the CGI, I don't remember anything standing out that awkwardly except for maybe just MODOK being weird, and we're just not used to processing that look.
Yeah, that's an odd look. But
A head
still,
with T-Rex arms and legs.
that works for MODOK though, because MODOK's odd. So
Right.
you don't.
But like your first time seeing it, like us as humans, we're not used to seeing that, so it takes a moment. So maybe the CGI looks weird, but I think it's just because the body is just so weird.
It's not, but yeah, I mean, and listen to the costuming is wonderful as well. And Bill Pope, I mean, who has shot some beautiful. I mean, Bill Pope shot Darkman. He's worked with Sam Raimi, like wonderful cinematographer.
You were excited when Bill Pope's name appeared on the opening credits. Like, oh, Bill Pope.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching the costume design, I don't really like the new monsters in the Star Wars movies. I've watched movies where you go into a bar and it's a bunch of monsters, and they felt very cheap to me. Yeah. But watching the monsters in this one, you definitely, I mean, we talked about it. You get Phantom Menace vibes, you get Attack of the Clone vibes, you get Return of the Jedi vibes.
There's a lot of Star Wars in this Ant-Man.
A lot of Star Wars, but I like the creatures, like the broccoli one, like when the one with the holes. Like I like the I feel like none of them, I looked at them and just went, they slapped a helmet on that thing and it looks terrible. Like I liked the vibe of the quantum realm. So yeah, you're right. The technical work in this, the VFX, the costuming, all top notch. I mean, and it looks great. And this is a totally visual world, so maybe they have more control to make it look more crisp. They're not on location, trying to blend in VFX with the real world. And they maybe could budget for the different artists because they knew how heavy of a load it would be. But yeah, I mean, it looks great. And I'm going to watch it on TNT. I don't even have cable. I'm going to get TNT just to watch it. So yeah, I'm
going to steal your login and watch it.
That's my final thoughts about this. So hey, I like doing polls. So we can do let's do this. Let's do the I'll put it up on Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll do no, I don't really want to do a poll. I want you to tell me which 4 MCU characters you'd like to go into the quantum realm with. And have like a journey, not like a quest. You're not going to die. You're just going to have a journey with some peril. Which 4 are you taking?
Is everybody getting along, or are they following their heel-face alignments?
Whatever you want.
That's a good question. First and foremost, because I'm a male, Scarlett Johansson's going. Just in case I get tired of looking at all the craziness outside, I got something nice to look at there. Personality-wise, I don't know if Black Widow and I would get along very well, but, Luis,
Yeah.
I don't know. Luis would be funny, but at the same time, we get him in small doses.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe hanging out with Luis for days on end with no break would not be as fun.
No.
So I actually I might take that one back, unfortunately. Darcy.
Yep.
I would pick Darcy.
Yep.
I like her personality. She's got that great sense of humor back and forth. Notice I'm not picking like any huge names. I don't want to deal with Thor and his ego or Robert Downey Jr.'s drunkenness.
Brother.
Not his, like Tony Stark.
Tony
Stark's
Stark.
drunkenness. Let me correct that. Captain America would be like too goody two shoes, don't touch anything.
Wanda's great, but not in her current state.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is gonna be like, oh, I already know all this.
Terrible.
He'd be a little too know-it-all for me. Maybe Spider-Man, because again, the sense of humor. He would have the same sarcastic jokes I would have. And I feel like we would feed off of each other pretty well until somebody like a Black Widow tells us to shut up and behave, So I got those two there.
Okay.
Darcy, and then a fourth one. That is a good question.
I know. That's the second time someone's ever said that to me.
Yeah, no, on the same show, no less. Yeah. And then I don't know, like I'd want to hang out with a good group of people. So he's not in the MCU yet. So maybe this is excuse me, I'm cheating with the Human Torch, Johnny Storm.
Oh, right.
I mean, he can fly and do the stuff, so he can look out for us in that.
I'm
I don't know, you put me on the spot, so I'm sure if you ask me again in a day from now, I'll have a radically different 4.
Come up and send it to me. I want to hear it. Do you want to hear my 4?
Yes, please.
Darcy, Luis, she's awesome. Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie. She would just do all the fighting. So I got those 3. And then I'm trying to go through all the shows, all the movies. Let's see.
I mean, She-Hulk seems like she'd be kind of fun, too, to hang out with. In either form.
Yeah.
Because Jen Walters, she's fun, smart, some sarcastic, but then She-Hulk is just a badass.
Whoa, and her and Darcy would get along.
They would.
And
if
all
you
of them would get along.
There, like you said, we're not going to die, but if you need to get out of there, She-Hulk could just look at the camera and say, like, all right, guys, we're done.
Yeah, that's who I'm taking. That's fun. I like it. I would hang out with them. That'd be awesome.
I mean, Moon Knight would be kind of cool, too, because you just don't know who you're hanging out with that day.
Okay. So I'm just going to make my Darcy, Luis, Valkyrie. I really like the She-Hulk, but I'm taking Scarlet Scarab.
Okay.
Because she's awesome. And that costume is incredible. And I paid a lot for her pop because Megan's a big fan of her character. And I have her Scarlet Scarab pop because that's a cool look and she's awesome. Layla, she has her own Tomb Raider episode. So yeah. No, I'm gonna take that Crocodile God. No, I'm joking. We're taking 5. I'm taking 5, and I'm adding She-Hulk. Those are mine.
Wow.
So you get to add 1.
Okay, I only get 4, and you go.
You can add 1. You can add 1. But you can't have any of mine. So get over yourself.
No, and I kind of want like Uatu the Watcher,
Oh. Jeffrey
just so
Wright?
he could. What's that?
Is that Jeffrey Wright, the Watcher?
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. Yeah. Get him because he's a know-it-all, but he's like a laid-back know-it-all, so he won't tell you anything unless you ask. So be like, hey, Uatu, what's that over there? Oh, that's from this. Da da da. I'm like, oh no, he'd be educational.
I'll be like, Jeffrey Wright, read me a book. Read me what's that restaurant that has like everything on the menu? You know what I'm talking about? It's always in malls. Uatu, Jeffrey Wright, read me the Cheesecake Factory menu. Yes. Fajitas.
And with scallions.
Liquor. Margarita. Lemonade floater. $12.99. Like, I would just listen to that all day.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. I was very jealous when he got that role because I've always loved The Watcher, but then I'm like, I never wanted to be an actor. I don't want to be in any of these movies or anything, but if I could voice over a character, I always wanted to be The Watcher.
Oh, he's the best.
And now Jeffrey Wright took my damn job.
Cheesecake Factory. Pancakes. Waffles.
Hours. 10 a.m. to midnight.
Tip your waiters. Well, hey, Mo Lightning, where can people find you?
At Mo Lightning, M-O Lightning, pretty much all of the different spots. So feel free to reach out and tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. Hey, I listened to your episode. You suck. Thanks for the... Hey, be constructive with your feedback. Let me know what you think. It's a free podcast.
In a weird way, it's flattering, even when haters do it because they take the time.
You know what the problem with MFF is?
What's that?
It's kind of a chill place. Like I rarely share the really angry hot takes.
Right.
So then I rarely get the diehards, and I don't get the really angry people. I just get kind
I
of,
get
yeah,
that.
Mark's chill.
Anybody not aware, I ran a pro wrestling website starting in 2005. Ran it for about 17 years, and we were never that hot take group either. That like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That was our mentality. We didn't love everything or everybody, but we didn't get those people in return. We didn't get those angry people, and I was okay with that.
At this point in 3 months, who are the two main highest ranked champions in the WWE?
Obviously, Roman Reigns is up there. He holds both world titles, and probably only because they have a world record-setting run as well. The Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and all of them are in a group together, but they are very dominant.
Well, Cody Rhodes still have his necktie.
Cody, yeah. Cody still got his neck tattoo. He's probably going to win that title at WrestleMania. So, yeah.
All right, I like it. Well, hey, man, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. 2 good questions. All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, from O Lightning, this is Movie Films and Flicks. We'll see you next week.